KFIZ News Time, 8:13. Welcome to Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. I'm Jerry St. John. Of course, you know that. I've been here for a couple hours already. But joining us this morning, Ron Rademann and Master Gardener Patty. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Phone lines are open, by the way, 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450. And you can also email at kfizstudio@gmail.com. Alrighty, kfizstudio@gmail.com. And the quick reminder, we can only take one phone call at a time. So if you have a question, wait until somebody hangs up and then call in. Because quickly, real quickly, because you're going to be in queue with about 4,000 other people who want to use that line.
So, I don't know about 4,000.
Okay, so maybe it's 5. Anyhow, good to see you guys again. Happy new season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite seem like a new season here yet outside this morning.
No.
I know, it feels kind of wintry.
Yeah.
Calendar, though, like Patty said, calendar says spring.
Yeah.
Well, and you said wind chill of 17 here.
Yeah.
And it's not even windy either. So it's
yeah. But
the sun is shining.
The sun is shining.
That's
always the optimist.
Right. Well, and it always seems a little warmer when the sun's shining.
It is.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So, another fine season coming our way of information.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll, it's always a little bit different every year because last year we were experiencing a lot of really nice 50s, 60s, even a few 70-degree days already by this time of year.
That's okay.
So
that was kind of odd.
So this year it's a little more typical, let's just say, a little more average, if there ever is an average year. So, but last year we were kind of hustling you into spring mode in a hurry, and this year you've got a little more time here yet. It's kind of right at you can still do like dormant oil spraying yet. Some, like last year, it would have been a little too late already by now.
Is it too late to prune the fruit trees?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
No, in there too. In last year, it was still okay to prune on whatever it is here, March 22nd. And so you can still prune here yet, and you'll be able to prune for another month or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good because I got some to do.
So I think we have time there, and of course that can change. Right now we say we got a month, but that all it takes is one warm week right now won't do it.
No.
But if we in a couple weeks, if we get that warm week, then we might get shortchanged a little bit. But yeah, you can still prune yet, and you could pretty much prune anything at this time of year. Keeping in mind that if you trim the early spring flowering plants, if you trim them, you're cutting the flowers off.
Well,
i.e. lilacs, for one.
Yeah.
Right. But, for the most part, you aren't going to do any harm trimming them. Now if you have even evergreens, if they've tip burned a little bit, go ahead and you can get started on any of that stuff right now.
Oh, good. Another thing to add to my to-do list. I got a problem getting in my shed. There's still 4 inches of snow in front of the door because it's on the north side of and the sun doesn't get at it.
Yeah, well, and there's still, as I was driving here, I was noticing a little snow, piles of, in the corners where people were tossing it as they were shoveling and things like that. And so, we're still in good shape.
For the shape we're in.
For the shape we're in, yeah.
You're talking weather.
It's a really good time to prune off the dead floral of your hydrangeas now because they've done their job. They've stayed up all winter, and your grasses, your perennial grasses, those can get chopped down now.
Another thing to add to my list.
But I leave the rest of my perennial bed alone for a little while because there's good insects that probably winter over in there, and some of your butterflies will winter over.
Oh,
in
really?
that foliage. Yeah, so
Okay.
I leave them for a little bit. And if I do chop them, I just lay them down. So if there's anybody hiding in the foliage or anything like that, wintering, they can still hatch out.
Quick question for you, changing the subject, unfortunately, but before I forget it, get to that age. If you had grub damage last year, will you necessarily have grub damage to your lawn this year? Do you need to treat, or are they a one-year thing?
I would probably treat them again because more than likely they left some eggs behind.
Okay.
And even if you treated them last year and got rid of them, you maybe only got 75% of them, or you killed off the existing ones, but they might have already had a chance to
And I didn't
lay some eggs for this year.
Chance to take care of last year's because of my knee surgery. So they just chomped away, and I got some bare patches, which I'm assuming is grub related because the grass kind of lifts next to it.
Yeah,
so.
it sure sounds that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When do you do that? Is that early on, or do you do that later?
Well, most of those any herbicides or insecticides, pesticides, anything like that, we're getting right at the point where when it would be a good time to do it.
Oh,
let's put it that way.
Okay.
Usually, if you're starting to do, step one, lawn fertilization, again, we're kind of like right at the beginning of it right now. You don't have to race out there this afternoon, but sometime in the next couple weeks would be ideal. And it's, we're still getting the ground. For the most part, there isn't any frost left in the ground right now. Now, there could be pockets yet if you've got a higher building and you're on the north side of the house or of a higher building, you could still have some frost in the ground. And of course, then you wouldn't want to be doing step one or doing any fertilizer, insecticide, pesticide treatments, because otherwise, if you'd apply it right now and the ground would be frozen, then it rains tonight, tomorrow, like it probably will.
Weather Service says about 100% chance. They're pretty sure.
It's pretty probable.
Yeah.
And then what'll happen is it displaces it, so you don't get a good uniform coverage because the water it would float, so to speak, and could move around on you, and you'd get over coverage in some areas and under coverage in other areas. Whereas if the ground is thawed out and absorbing water,
that would be good then if it rains.
Then it would take it right in.
Yeah.
And we should get plenty of rain here yet in March and April. So that's why, we probably have time yet.
And then the grub-generated bare spots, just treat those like any other bare spot. Just kind of, what do you call it, scarify the soil and throw your good seed on. And
yeah, you might need to reseed if those patches are
they're
larger.
Naked. Yeah. And some are maybe a couple square feet.
Uh-huh.
They were hungry little dudes.
Yeah, if it's just a little thin and it's, smaller areas, then maybe just scarify it and the fertilizing would help it fill in. But if you've got actual bare spots,
I got bare spots.
Yeah, then I'd go ahead and do a little reseeding, get some Madison Parks grass seed and get the process started.
And just to refresh everybody, does Madison Parks have sun variety, shade variety, mixed variety, or is it just one type?
Well, Madison Parks is generally for full sun, or at least sun for half the day. So if you'd put it down on, the east side and you were getting, in the summer, you get sun from 4 until 2, that's 8 hours of sunshine, or 10 hours. So that's plenty of light, let's just say.
Okay, so what I'm looking at is not totally shade.
Right. Now, if you're in an area where it's shade all but a couple hours a day, then you'd have to use a different blend.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You carry.
And we have a Shady Place blend
Okay.
also at Rademann's that would work for that.
I'm going to have to get a couple kinds of seed because a couple of areas are shadowed by trees.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Yeah, if you're right underneath a tree, where the sun just doesn't get around it. And then it's tough also because of the roots from the tree and you're getting a lot of times when it rains, we get a little light rain and it doesn't work its way all the way through the canopy of the tree down to the ground. So you're presented with some other challenges there too. So,
alrighty. Well, while we're waiting for our first call or email coming in, let's take our first break.
Well, that sounds like a plan. So again, it's early season at Rademann's, and so we're basically still in winter mode at Rademann's. Won't be for long, but we aren't open on Saturdays yet. Open till 4:00 Monday through Friday. So you can stop on out or give us a call, 920-922-7612.
KFIZ News Time, 8:26. Welcome back to Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Ron Rademann here. Patty Master Gardener is here, and the lines are open. 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450, or if you choose email because you're really bashful, like we are, it is KFIZstudio@gmail.com, and we will get your question on that way. We do have a caller, so let's hit the phones. Good morning. You are with us on Landscape Smart.
Hi. I planted garlic last fall for the first time and mulched it.
Okay.
When should I remove the mulch?
You can remove it any time now, actually, and I just pull it away from where they should be coming up. I'd wait until they're coming up out of the ground, and then keep it close by to mulch the weeds from happening, and they'll probably be ready at the middle or end of July.
Thank you.
All right. There's your answer. Thanks for calling. 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450. The line is open.
So, it's, and we're kind of like right at that precipice here yet right now because we are getting, some below freezing temperatures yet. But that's going to end here real quick. And if it dips down to below freezing for a few hours overnight, it's not going to hurt anything like garlic.
Yeah.
But some things you do have to be a little bit alert to opening them up. So not specifically garlic, but some of the more tender plants, it might be a little bit early to pull mulch off.
Yeah, I usually wait till at least April 1st for the other ones.
Yeah, just and we're so close now.
Yeah.
Because if we do start getting, if we do continue to get a few days like this where it's dipping down into the low 20s overnight yet, then it's a little dicey on some of the more tender plants. Mm-hmm. But you can even see, I've got some daylilies in my yard, and they're starting to, the ones on the southeast side are starting to pop a little bit. You can see the nodules, whatever you want to call them, coming, breaking through. Yeah. So, and of course, daylilies, you could probably leave those set out all winter long without hurting them. But so you don't have to worry about mulching them. But sometimes, we'll get questions on, they look the foliage would be a little damaged on some plants. And a lot of times that's what happens at this time of year is it's starting to come out. They're starting to break out. And if you leave that mulch on, it just keeps the soil temperatures a little more moderate yet. So it slows things down just a little bit yet.
Yeah, even if you have any bulbs like tulips or anything like that, if you have any mulch on them, don't take it off yet, because that if they get a shot of really hot weather and start to come out of the ground, then a real cold snap, they can get frosted pretty quick.
They're tender.
Yes.
923-1450. Line is available for you. Gmail, that's KFIZ Studio at gmail.com.
I was going to say another thing. If you're looking for something to do today or tomorrow, the home show is going on out at the fairgrounds here in Fond du Lac this weekend.
A lot of good ideas always out there.
Well, it's kind of fun just to go out and walk around, and a little bit of gardening, a little bit of everything going on. It's not always necessarily about the house and home out there too. There's a few other things going on, but Rademann's does have a booth going on out there.
So do Master Gardeners.
And the Master Gardeners too.
Yep.
So you're both covered.
Yep.
So,
we hand out all our little flyers for the plant sale at this time of year.
And that's not that far away,
No,
realistically.
it's not. May 10th is coming up pretty quick.
well, especially when we'll have one more show here in March, and then we're into April, and that's coming up. So yes, we're whatever that is, 5-6 weeks away. So
Not that far. Not that far. 923-1450. Lines are open for you.
But yeah, you'll get a chance to. I think Joe is out doing the home show here this weekend, and I'm not sure who's all. Reed, Zach, there. You'll get to meet a few of the people from Rademann's if you stop on out there. And you going to work that for a couple hours, Patty, or isn't your?
They haven't really said they needed somebody. If they do, they'll let me know, and then I'll go. But they're telling everybody about all the at least a dozen varieties of tomatoes, a dozen varieties of peppers, and lots of different things we've got started in the greenhouse already.
Oh, wow.
So, and lots of flowers and other different annuals, vegetables that you start indoors before you plant. So there's always a big selection if you come to our sale.
You're going to meet somebody you know there too. It's a social event.
It is.
Well, that's that's the problem when I go out there. I usually have a hard time making it through the whole show because you get caught by
Right.
You're talking.
caught with somebody, and pretty soon they're flashing the lights because it's time to get out of there. So,
And then we're going to offer again the designing a container, ready-made container. You can pick out the flowers yourself, and I'll plant them for you. And
Nice.
you don't have to buy soil, and you're good to go.
And then you go home and clean your fingernails for a week. 923-1450. If you got a call or you got a question, give us a shout. It's the fun time of the year because you've got the shows and you got the sale coming up, but it's planning time. If you didn't plan during winter, this is where you can really start because it's close now. I mean, in December, you talk about, let's plan. Oh, yeah, it's snowing. Yeah, but now it's like, wow. I think we have a caller here. I'm not sure if line 4 works, but let's find out. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I would like to play or request a birthday song.
Okay, you got the wrong line there. You need to call Jerry Schneider show line, and I don't know what it is, but she's got it, apparently. Okay, we got it. Yeah, that's good.
No wonder it came up on that other line.
Yeah, well, now I understand. That's their line.
Oh, I see.
The things I'm learning yet. 923-1450 if you have a question for Landscape Smart. Anyhow, the planning thing that to me is always a lot of fun because it gives you an opportunity to look at different stuff. And then not just fruits and veggies, but the flowers, the bushes, and like we were talking.
Well, and that's where it is really nice to to go out to the home show and you get a chance to. It kind of sparks some ideas and some things, and you get a chance to talk to the master gardeners, talk to the people at Rademann's, talk to the other. There's all of anybody in our area there, and you can get a chance. You get some ideas, and you can also bounce your ideas off of them.
Sure.
And see once you get a second opinion, a third opinion, and that's always good too. It's always easier to figure things out before it's too late. You start doing things and you build a patio and you don't put the base in deep enough, and then 2 years later you got spots that are holding water, puddling up, settles uneven, things like that. So, those are just some things that it's different in different areas, different soils and different things like that. So again, you go out to you visit with the people at Rademann's or any of the other people out there, you get a chance to tell them about your property and your situation, your terrain, your soils, things like that. And you get, because everybody's yard is a little bit different. So,
Alrighty.
And if you run into the master gardeners, you can get them and they'll answer any, garden problems you might have from the previous year.
Mm-hmm. And maybe resolve the issue. 923-1450. Looked like we had somebody trying to come in, but every time I went to it, they had hung up already. So 923-1450. Maybe now we got the caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I've got a couple of trees that are already budding. Is it still okay to prune those?
Well, they're trees or shrubs or anything like that. They're starting to push sap up, and the buds are swelling, but they aren't really to a point where they're growing yet. So no, you're still good to go there. Go ahead and do your trimming right now. Yet, more than likely, it's going to be at least a couple weeks yet before they actually do leaf out. And so no, you're okay trimming yet. What kind of?
Do I have? But they're maples.
Sure. Yeah, and they're going to bleed a little bit at this time of year because the sap.
You can make syrup.
So, but don't worry about the bleeding. That it doesn't really hurt the tree. It just looks like you're hurting the tree. But
okay, so I don't have to seal it off or anything on the cuts.
No, it doesn't really. Those cuts generally, like the sap, will kind of form its own seal. Let's just say, as it comes out, that's nature's way of taking care of itself, and that's why you get that sap flowing, because it'll basically seal itself. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's just what I want to check. I didn't want to do something that would end up damaging something.
No, so you're okay, and you've actually probably got a couple of weeks, but the buds are swelling, but they're actually, the trees aren't really growing yet. So you're good. Okay. Good to go. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Another chore for your list.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 923-1450. Let's see if we got a caller here. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I have some apple trees, and how late can I wait to put dormant oil on?
Well, I would do that as soon as possible.
That's probably going to be next week. Now, if it rains, do I need to do it again?
Well, and that would be one good reason to not do it today.
Right. Well, I don't have it yet. It should be Monday or Tuesday I'll have it.
Sure.
And then when does the fungicide go on?
That would be a little bit yet.
Right.
Put your dormant oil on as soon as possible, and next week is still fine. We might have a couple weeks yet actually there too. And then you want to wait until there's also the different fungicides that you'd put on, and there you can start doing that as they're starting to bud out, or the new leaves are starting to emerge.
Okay.
Because if you're putting a fungicide on, you're putting it on the leaves, on the foliage. And so until you have foliage to spray, you're not doing any good. Then you're better off with the dormant oil yet.
So once the apples start to form when they're real small, is that insecticide time?
Right. Well, there you're gonna start as they're starting to grow, as their new leaves are opening and developing, and then you're going to spray about every 10 days after that for about, which is probably 4 or 5 applications.
With fungicide or insecticide?
Well, if I like to use the combination of the two, and like out at Rademann's, they've got a couple of different products there that are organic that you're spraying, and it has both the fungicide and the insecticide together.
Yeah, I've got them all separate bottles.
Oh, yeah. Well, then you're still, you probably could even put them together.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I'd mix them together then, and then you're not, because for the most part, you're doing them at the same intervals. And of course, you always follow the directions on the label.
Right.
But for the most part, 10 days apart, 2 weeks apart is where you want to be at with those sprayings.
And then the nutrient goes on the soil?
You have like a granular, or is that?
It would be a spray too. A liquid.
Well, you could. Is that like is it concentrated, or?
Right.
You could possibly even put that in. You could mix a little bit of that even with your fungicide and insecticide, and spray that right on the foliage. But there you'd have to be a little careful, or just, again, follow the directions on the label, because some of that stuff, if it would be a little too strong, without knowing exactly the product you're using, it would be difficult for me to say, because if it's a highly concentrated, just a small teaspoon you could do damage to. Well, a teaspoon probably wouldn't hurt.
No.
but you could put that on the foliage and then mix it up. I'm assuming it's more of a product that you'd mix with water in a 5-gallon bucket and then pour it around the base of the plant on the soil. That would be a better nutrient for the apple trees.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you were going to be on today. Otherwise, I was going to call Rademann's and see if you could have brought these items up today. But
no, this is better yet.
Yeah.
But there are different, there's different formulations of each one. And, if you do stop out to Rademann's, they'll set you up with, again, there's like a 3-in-1 insecticide that you can, it's called a orchard spray, and that'll have the fungicide and the insecticide in there together. There's no fertilizer in there.
And that's all concentrate?
That's all concentrated, yes. Well, it's, again, we have it in that you can mix it up in your sprayer, or you could put it on a hose end sprayer too.
Yeah, I've got about 12 trees to do. They're dwarfs.
Yeah, then you're probably better off mixing it up on your own.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If you have 1 or 2, it's kind of easier just to grab the garden hose and hook that hose end sprayer on, and you're not mixing and because otherwise you mix up a half a gallon and it goes a long ways. But but you're going to probably.
I guess that's all I really needed to know. But I know I have to get the dormant oil on though soon.
Yeah, do that right away.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks for the call. I'm going to take a short break.
So, yeah, as we said, Rademann's is not open on Saturdays here yet. Probably be a couple weeks yet. I don't know. We kind of look out the window and decide when it's time to be spring out. And so, anyway, Rademann's open till 4 o'clock right now, Monday through Friday, not open Saturdays. You can visit us at rademann.com or stop on out just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, east on B.
And we are back, 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450. Lines are open, KFIZ studio at gmail.com if you choose that route. Ron Rademann from with Landscape Smart from Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Master Gardener Patty here, and we're ready for your calls.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Do it.
It's when they try once and it doesn't work, I think they give up.
Yeah, try again.
Please.
Because as we've mentioned, I can only talk to one person at a time with this phone system. I see now that the other ones ring in, but I can't answer them.
Yeah, I think it just rings and rings and rings.
So just let it ring until the caller is done, then I will push your button, so to speak. 923-1450, though, is the number.
So we're getting a bunch of new people coming out to the community gardens again this year. There's always a few that come back, and there's a bunch that decide it was too much work. So this year there's quite a few openings left to fill. So if anybody's interested,
How do they get a hold of you?
they can call me at the extension office, and I have a different number now that's not in my head yet. So.
Okay. So listen next week.
Yes.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are all you doing?
Well, so far so good today.
Good.
At least we think.
It's a beautiful day. Yes, it looks like a beautiful day out there so far. Yes, I just have a question regarding, I just left like hydrangea and my ornamental grasses all winter, just left them up all winter, but now, they're very, very dried out. And
Yes.
when is the best time to trim all that down?
Anytime you want to. This is perfect. This is the perfect time to trim both those. The hydrangeas, I wouldn't take off much more than the blossoms until you see where the new growth is starting.
Okay.
And the grass goes right to the ground.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Those grasses should be sheared off right at ground here, and that, again, it's not something you really need to do today yet. But once you start seeing the lawns start greening up, then your grasses are starting to grow too. So you want to trim off your ornamental grasses at the same time as before the lawns start greening up. And like Patty said, on the hydrangeas, we're kind of it's almost maybe just a little early yet. As you see the buds swelling and turning green, then you kind of know exactly where you're at. You could do them now, but you might end up having to go back and touch them up a little bit. So
You can
typically I wait.
definitely take the blossoms off if you feel like it. That cleans them up a lot.
Yeah, okay, because like my one of my hydrangeas, an Annabelle hydrangea,
Yes.
so that one's about almost 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And then I have a limelight hydrangea that's probably like well over 6 feet tall. So
Yeah.
just cut the blossoms off, none of the branches, and lower it. No.
You can lower it, but you might have to go back again, like Ron said, and trim it. I mean, shape it a little better.
Okay.
But you can lower them.
Well,
Great.
and you're actually you trim Annabelle hydrangea a little bit different than you trim the limelight hydrangea, because the limelight, you're basically, most of that is going to stay alive and green, so you're pretty much just trimming the dead flower tips off, or maybe you end up going back just a little bit depending on how fall was around here.
They get pretty tall and out of control quick.
Mine's really out of control. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for all the information.
And thank you for the call.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great day, everyone.
You do the same. And we got an email from Anna. She said, last year we had the worst case of box elder bugs in 45 years. When it started to get warm a couple weeks ago, they literally started coming out of the woodwork and again started to congregate on the south side of the house. They don't have a box elder tree. They do have maples. How do you get rid of them is her question. A 22?
Last fall was the time to prevent them from getting in your house, actually.
Yeah, I guess, it's one of those things you really are going to probably have to, spray them, but there's nothing you can really to spray until you start seeing them. And once you start seeing them, then, you're going to have to get after it. And it isn't one of, box elder bugs, they don't really hurt anything. They're just a pain.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's difficult to control them because they're high up, in the trees. And of course, then they drop down but
populate your wall, your house.
Right. They like the heat from.
If they come and fall and sit on the south side of your house or west side of your house where it's warm, you can spray them then. But now I don't know.
I don't think there's anything. You'd have to figure out how to get, spray an egg mass up in a tree. Maybe if it wasn't, again, it's probably even hard to. They're probably blowing in from somewhere else if you don't have a box elder in your own yard. But also box elder bugs, as they're known, they aren't proprietary to box elders alone, too. So
I think she might have been talking about that they were wintered over in her walls, in her house, and now they're coming out of the woodwork.
I got the impression, and I'm going to go back to the email, if I can get it up here. They're starting to congregate on the south side of the house.
Yeah.
So it's exterior.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's kind of just where they congregate because they're searching for the heat and the sun in the fall like that. So that's typical of where they would gravitate to.
They're not harmful, but they drive you buggy.
Yeah, there we go.
Just like the Asian lady beetles.
Break time.
And those are good for us.
Yes.
So anyway, Rademann's, as we said, not open today. Open Monday through Friday till 4. Rademann's, if you want to stop on out during the week, get start on some advice. Just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac. We're just east of Highway 41 on County Trunk B.
We are back for the final couple minutes of this week's edition, the inaugural edition of the new year. Landscape Smart, Ron Rademann here, and Patty the Master Gardener is here. And we've got a couple minutes left if you have a question. 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450. Surprising, just first show out, a lot of diversified calls already.
Yeah, we got off to a little bit of a slow start, and then we got some good questions, good callers
it is
coming
spring. It is spring,
Yeah. Podcast you were going to mention.
Yeah, if you're tuning in late and you want to re-listen to the beginning of the show that you missed, you can check us out on YouTube. You can watch it or just listen to it. If you don't want to see our smiling faces, you can.
I do radio for a reason, not TV.
Well, I think we all do.
You can do the blackout on the left side of the screen and just see these guys.
But you can turn it on while you're doing your household chores. Maybe not vacuuming.
That'd be tough.
Washing dishes.
Washing dishes would work. Or folding the laundry. I don't know if people fold laundry anymore.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Some people even iron.
I just hang it up. Well, anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah, it's a different show.
So anyway, you can
Ron's household ends.
If you miss the beginning of the show, or you want to hear something twice because we had you all confused the first time, go ahead and listen twice. And if we still haven't got it figured out, then you have to call back next week.
Yes. And then we'll explain it next week.
Yeah, but we do have a couple minutes yet. If you have a last-minute quickie question, 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450.
Again, if you're looking for, instead of stopping out to Rademann's this morning, which, as we said, won't work, you can stop on out to the home show later this morning or this afternoon. I think it opens around 10 or something. I don't know exactly.
I don't know.
But anyway, stop on out to the Fond du Lac County Fairgrounds, and you can visit with the guys from Rademann's out there. And a lot of Rademann's customers are also there. I know I talked to Dean Kranig. He does some landscape and construction, so he'll be out there. You can buy the pavers. Well, if you want a paver patio, Dean will install them for you. And there's a lot of the other Rademann customers are out there too. So,
and visit the Master Gardeners, and they'll help you figure out all your garden issues and problems and give you some hints on how to do things different if you're looking for some different landscaping or things you want to do.
So right off the bat, you've got some destinations to look for and a lot of other stuff to see out there.
So you don't have to hurry out to Rademann's till noon and get there by noon today. You got this afternoon and tomorrow also to go to the home show and visit with Rademann.
Fun event.
And you can, like Patty said, you can kill two birds with one stone, so to speak.
Yeah.
Can you sign up to be a Master Gardener if you're at the Master Gardeners?
Yes.
Or try to...
Yeah, you can. And
Master Gardener courses? Or,
yeah. And as far as I know, everything is online now.
Oh.
If you want to become a Master Gardener, it's really
and do
easy.
a show with us?
Yeah, we're trying to get some new blood, so yeah.
There you go. Alrighty, kickoff edition. It's in the books.
Yeah, so we'll be here every Saturday from here on out until I don't know, the middle of November. So if everything goes good, I guess. So
good Lord willing.
Again, Rademann's not open today. Open till 4 o'clock Monday through Friday. It'll be a couple weeks yet before we are open on Saturdays, but we'll be here every Saturday morning at 8:05 or 8:08 or something like that.
Somewhere around there. Our thanks to you for joining us with your calls and the emails. Thanks to Patty. Thanks to Ron.